everybody. Come on in the room. I am Dr. Nicole Swiner, aka DocSwiner, and I am here for the Byrdie Beauty IG Takeover. Hello, folks. Hello. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Hi, Hollywoodin. Come on in the room. We had some issues. I was trying to get onto Instagram. It wasn't letting me on. Hi, quotes by Nalisha. Hello. So, to introduce myself, my name is Dr. Nicole Swiner. Hi, Curly Chisholm. Hi, everybody. And I am a family doctor from Durham, North Carolina. Hi, Bella. Thanks for everybody. Thank you. This is my own lipstick. This is my No Superwoman lipstick that I have. I have some merchandise and all that. And I'll tell you about that in a moment. But hey, guys, thank you for joining live. This is a no troll situation, so no trolls will be tolerated. Peace and love only in this space. This is a safe space. But my name is Dr. C. Nicole Swiner, and I hail from Durham, North Carolina by way of Charleston, South Carolina. And I am one of your phenomenal review board members of Byrdie Beauty. And so shout out to Byrdie Beauty and the whole staff and the whole organization and the rest of my physician and clinical medical folks that are being champions of truth and helping to deliver accurate, up-to-date information to you all via Byrdie Beauty's website, their social media, etc. We try to give you some good news, the right stuff. Hello, Gel by Jess. Hello, y'all welcome. Raj Manvi. Hello. So, hi, David Jones. I am here today because I'm taking it over, and my goal for today is to give you some information in this chaotic world that we live in, particularly if you are in America. We have been through a lot, globally, nationally, locally. Hello, welcome. Invite your friends to come in and hear some real talk from a physician about what we're dealing with nowadays. But to tell you a little bit about myself, again, I'm DocSwiner, at DocSwiner on social media. And in my day gig, my day job is a family doctor. So I take care of people from all ages, socioeconomic backgrounds, et cetera, et cetera. And I take care of everything. So we do preventive health, we do physical exams. I'm doing well, thanks for asking. We do, chronic care management. I help keep the family healthy, right? So I co-own a private practice here in Durham, North Carolina called Durham Family Medicine. That is my main gig, and then my side gigs include doing things like this for Byrdie Beauty, where I serve as a consultant, making sure that accurate. Thank you, cowgirl. I serve as a consultant to help share truthful medical information. I try to be a champion of self-care and mental health. My brand is called the No Superwoman, hashtag No Superwoman, because I've written some books on the Superwoman complex. I have a publishing company. I do some speaking nationally, etc. Yeah, that's lit, right? Yeah, no sore. So what I'm here to talk about today, though, is not me. I'm here to talk to you. I'm here to answer questions about another global pandemic that we've been fighting on top of the political craziness. I'm doing well, Deepak. Thanks for asking. I hope you're doing well. The coronavirus pandemic we're all going through, the political craziness that's happening in multiple countries, nations, etc., continents. On top of the election, America is going through our crazy election right now of our next president. But also, we have all, particularly in America, we have been dealing with racism as another pandemic. If you are American, I know or even if you're in other countries, you're very familiar, I'm sure, with the Black Lives Matter movement, with discrimination of different racial groups, different socioeconomic groups. I mean, you name it, we all have dealt with it in some way, right? David wants to quit smoking. You definitely should quit smoking. You should definitely reach out to your primary care, your family physician, to quit smoking, because that will decrease a lot of health problems that can come from that. But we are going to talk about how racism and different types of discrimination can affect all of us, all of our medical health, whether you're black, brown, white, etc., how it affects all of us, okay? How do I feel about Biden becoming president? Not really here to talk about that. I just want peace and love and change, and for all of us to be healthier and happier. So whoever can do that, do that, okay? And by the way, as a side note, I like to put out this disclaimer because I am not your family doctor. I am a family doctor, but I'm not your family doctor. You know, you cannot take my medical advice as your own individual advice, but please reach out to your own primary care physician, your own clinical expert, so that they can help you. But we're going to talk about the fact that particularly black and brown folks, people of color, indigenous people have been dealing with the emotional trauma, physical stress of what racism brings to the forefront. So if you are American, you know that racism is as American as apple pie. And you know what I mean by that. You know that we have been peeling back you want to be my family doctor, okay? If you're in Durham, holler at me. But we've been peeling back this onion. We've been peeling back and pulling back the curtain to this structural, cultural, and individualized racism that lives within the fabric of the countries that we live in, no matter what country you're in, whether it be based on your religion, based on your sexuality. Racism racism in particular, of course, has to do with color and cultural background, but discrimination in all forms affects us all in some way. We are either a part of it or we are privy to it, meaning that we all should be involved in doing something about it. If you are American, we've been dealing with the Black Lives Matter movement, which has brought to light a lot of ugly truths that America has been living with since the beginning of this country. And what I want to talk about specifically, because I'm a family physician, is I'm spitting bars. I'm trying to tell them. What I want to focus on is how that affects all of our health. So not only are the people who have experienced the trauma of racism are affected, but the people around us, our communities, our nation, our world is also affected by that, okay? Your boy Pettyway asked a really important question about, do I think racism will ever come to an end? That's a great question. I of course, would love to pray for peace and pray for understanding and tolerance and that goes away. What I do think can happen is that we can all understand each other better. And I pray, that's what the Black Lives Matter movement has done and has pulled back the curtain and has it has smacked us in the face. You know, the fact that we have social media and we see these atrocities, these injustices that have been happening forever, we now see them daily in our face. We can't ignore it. And our allies and folks that are also, you know, are participants in these horrible acts can't deny that it's happening and can't deny that it's happening unjustly to certain pockets of people. And why is that? So that's a whole nother conversation. And so I hope and pray that racism will end. If not, at least let's be more understanding of one another. And again, if this election hasn't taught us anything in America, is that we need to focus on peace and love and get rid of the foolishness. Like, let's stop being foolish and really get back to taking care of one another so that we all can take better care of our families. But from a medical perspective, as a physician, as a doctor, it has been very stressful being, of course, a woman of color, a Black woman, being a physician in this moment, particularly because not only do I have to take care of myself and my family, but then I have to take care of my patients. I have to make sure that they are safe emotionally, physically. I have to make sure they're not getting coronavirus, which is affecting people of color more than twice or 3 times as more as other populations. So it has been incredibly challenging, and I hope that you all are doing okay. I hope that you are, if you've lost loved ones or if you're an essential worker, I hope that you are taking good care of your mental health and protecting yourselves as much as possible. It's like Yanosaurus giving some good information to David about quitting smoking. We'll get to coronavirus in a minute. You're asking some good questions, your boy, about coronavirus and whether there's a cure and money and all that. What I do want to say is, for those who have suffered some form of racism in their life, particularly during the very young ages of between 12 and 18, studies are showing that some form of discrimination, whether it be subtle, you know, because there are hidden types of discrimination where you're not picked because of your color or your creed or your culture, or you are made fun of in some way. There are very overt types of racism that you can experience during that age, meaning you've been targeted, you've been bullied, you've been pointed out, you've been threatened because of your background, your color. If you have experienced that as a youth between the ages of 12 to 18, during those moments, you can then develop depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder that can affect you for the rest of your life, right? We see this in studies. We also see, particularly for Black folks, hi Summit, welcome. For Black folks, for African Americans, and particularly in America, who have experienced racism in some way, at least 66 different research studies have shown that those folks have had to live with some form of mental health issue for the rest of their lives. My goal, particularly as a physician, is to identify those stressors, to identify those traumatic experiences, and help you get through them, or help you to get to counseling, get to therapy, make sure that it's not, the mental health pieces aren't then becoming something else, because we, hopefully, most of us know now that stress, depression, anxiety, PTSD, problems with sleeping, then end up causing other things that lead to heart disease, that lead to diabetes, that lead to cancers. Yes, cancer from stress and inflammation does occur, lead to dementia, lead to high blood pressure, leads to stroke. So we need to fix this stuff that is constantly a burden on our shoulders, so that it doesn't end up causing physical and medical problems in the future. Do I agree with the violent protests that have been happening, or should we keep it peaceful? I am definitely a proponent of peace. I'm an advocate of keeping love at the forefront of anything that you do. Can I fault those who feel that the violent way to express themselves is the wrong way? No, I don't want to judge and fault them because they've had their own experiences. But I believe you get more, what's the saying, get more ants with honey than you do with vinegar. I feel that acting in peace and love works better every time. It's going to bring us together every time. Now, if you are threatened, if your physical safety is threatened, then you, of course, have every right to defend yourself. But to go out and to riot and to tear up buildings and to set things on fire and to threaten people's safety, no, I don't think that's the way to go. Okay. The Yano Store says the only true cure for racism does start in the hearts of people, not the minds. Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about these three types of racism and how they affect the body. Structural racism comes in the form of things of, laws, the courts, the institutions, the police. Structural racism means the racism that is actually, quote, legal. Like, it was made a law. Like, it was, people feel that they have a legal right to act toward you because they are supported by what the local courts or the Supreme Court says should be the case. For Black people in America, because we were brought over as slaves, right? We were seen to be 3/5 of a man. We weren't even seen to be a total human being. And African American women, even less than that. But 3/5 of a man is what is in a legal document in America. That has to be eradicated. That has to be changed. We are all the same on the inside. If you've seen a skeleton, if you've taken an anatomy class, which we all have in medical school, and seen the inside of a human body, we are all the same. We are all the same. The color of our skin, the layers that cover these bones and these organs should make no difference about the way that you treat someone. Okay, so anyway, structural racism is one way that we need to defeat this monster. We need to get rid of discriminatory laws. We need to get rid of the fact that some people have access to some resources and others don't, based on where they live, which is usually largely based on the color of their skin. There are a lot of socioeconomic things that happen to only people of color, only people in certain circumstances because of the color of their skin. Not fair, unjust, needs to be removed, okay? That's the first type of racism. Second type is cultural. Those very sneaky, stereotypical things that happen, or those prejudiced jokes that happen in the boardroom, right? Yes, pure soul beauty, we are all the same. Those little sneaky things, those, she acts like this because she's Black, or the whole, the incorrect assumption of the angry Black woman phenomenon, or the big Black buck of a man. That stereotypes, the person of Indian descent that wears a head covering, it must mean something. Because someone is Muslim, they must act like this because of that. We have to get rid of these biases. We have to identify them, and we have to speak up. Okay? Nigeria. Yeah, shout out to those that are fighting the injustices in Nigeria. Please, if you know someone there, if you are affected by what's happening in Nigeria, please speak up to the government and do something. Shout out to those folks. But if you are in a situation, so the holidays are coming up. You're at the Thanksgiving table. If you celebrate Thanksgiving or celebrate Christmas, you're at the Christmas table having dinner. You are white or not of minority background, and that family member or that friend makes a racist joke. What do you say? Do you snicker and cower and say nothing? Or do you speak up? I think it's time to speak up. Okay? A lot of these things that we've been dealing with that then affect our health is not on the responsibility of people of color to fix, right? We are who we are because we were born this way. It is now the responsibility of the majority of people not of color, of white folks, of folks who are not in a minority, whether it be religious or racial or cultural, to speak up when you see wrongdoing happening. If you are in a position to help elevate someone or someone of color, or to help hire someone who is very well prepared for a job or a CEO or COO position, give that person a chance. Hire them. We need more diversity in the boardroom, more diversity at the head of government, more diversity in the hospitals. Hello? Because there's also discrimination that happens medically. There are some biases that prevent people of color, particularly women of color. There's a lot of talk about maternal morbidity and mortality. That's right. We really got to speak up now before we spend the rest of our lives crying. That's right, Yana Store. There's a big movement, particularly for Black women and women of color, getting better medical care and not having so many complications and deaths in childbirth. There's racism that needs to be addressed. Okay, doctors, we need to be trained on more cultural sensitivity. We need to speak up when we see that we are not paying attention to that patient who is talking about the pain that they're having. We need to address that. We need to be sensitive to that, okay? You need to hear them. There's this stereotype, and we're talking about, if you're just joining, hello again, I'm DocSwiner, taking over Byrdie Beauty's IG, talking about racism and health. The three types of racism include structural. We talked about that, meaning institutionalized government, it's a law. We're on the second one called cultural, which means stereotypes, biases, prejudices, those sneaky little racist jokes that your uncle tells that you don't say anything about. That affects people, and that makes its way into institutionalized and structural racism, which then prevents that Black mother from getting the right health care that she needs, that prevents that patient from being treated for their pain appropriately because they are a person of color and our skin is thicker than the normal person. That's ridiculous, right? That's absolutely ridiculous. Or we are seen as being stronger and we can take more and we are mentally and emotionally strong, but that doesn't mean that we don't hurt, that we don't have issues, we don't have problems that need to be addressed, right? So that has a lot to do with cultural racism. And then there's one-on-one individual, the very obvious, threatening of your safety because of the color of your skin, Black men being assaulted and hurt in the streets in broad daylight for no reason, unjustly. These are the individual types of racism that need to be decreased. They need to be brought out. If you see it happening, you need to say something. If you see that there is a police officer that is behaving inappropriately, not all policemen and policewomen do. So don't go away from here saying that that's what I said. But if you see a law officer or someone in authority that is behaving inappropriately, that is treating a citizen unjustly, you should stop and say something. You should press record on your phone and you should report it, okay? We have to protect each other, because if not, at some point it's going to affect you directly, okay? And then you're going to end up in the doctor's office with the high blood pressure, with the overeating, with the not being able to sleep, with the chronic migraine headaches, with the chronic pains, fibromyalgia, cancer. All of these things come from having to deal with all of this stress on a daily basis, okay? So treat each other better, speak up, speak out. If you are in a majority where you live, be an ally, okay? Do the work. What I noticed a lot during the Black Lives Matter movement, when it really peaked during this pandemic in America, was, with good intention. I had colleagues, white, female, male colleagues reach out to me saying, how can I help? What can I do? Where do I go to research, to read books? by all means, I'm very happy that you want to be involved and you want to be helpful, but that you should be doing that. Don't reach out to the person who is being affected for help on how to help them. Go and read the books, do the research, read White Fragility. That's one of the most popular books at this point. Read about how structural cultural racism exists and how you can be of help. Donate to those causes. Like I said, reach out and say, you know what, I want to give money and opportunities to people that have not had money and opportunities before. By the way, another asterisk side note, not all people of color are the same also, meaning minorities are not monolithic, okay? Not all black and brown people are poor and downtrodden. Many of us are in an elite class, educated, have privilege as well, okay? So don't have the stereotypical thought and belief that all of us fit into one category. Many of us have gone to college, have businesses, have families, are married, come from married backgrounds, right? Yes, please follow me at DocSwiner. Yes, love to people, that's right. So doing one thing, or saying that you are going to help increase Medicaid insurance coverage because it helps poor people doesn't necessarily fix all the problem, because I don't have Medicaid insurance, and not many people that I know have Medicaid insurance. I clearly treat patients with Medicaid insurance, but that doesn't fix everybody, right? Even though I am in the position that I'm in, I certainly can deal with and have dealt with some form of discrimination coming up. I certainly was passed over for things, rewards, jobs that I qualified more so, than other people in the room. I'm very used to having been the only black woman in the room, the only black person in the room, and have felt this responsibility of representing for my people and doing well, so people can see that good example of black folks and of people of color. There are plenty of me's out there, okay? So not all black folks and brown folks and people of color are the same. We are not monolithic. And that is even more important right now with this election, and thinking about the type of laws that need to be fixed and passed and all of those things. So again, I'm really, here just to give you some helpful information on trying to be more healthy, trying to be more focused on loving one another, and then if you are a person of color, making sure that you are addressing your own level of trauma, PTSD, depression, anxiety, eating healthy, exercising, getting the rest and the help that you need, and then working with allies to fix these horrible problems that have been in the fabric of certainly my country and America since its inception. So I'm here for you guys. Please reach out to me at DocSwiner if you need any more medical, mental health, self-care information. Take good care of yourself and each other, and I'll hand your Instagram back to you, Byrdie Beauty. Take care.